Okay, so I'm doing another live, and this live is about a lot of. I'm really actually disappointed. There's this African American girl. I know you know her. I just blocked her. I'm not gonna fucking support her. Beautiful, like green eyes, whatever. Always pulls her hair back, and is insulting people who want to vote for Jill Stein. But most importantly, that's not the problem, because I would never. The only people I'm going to insult are people who would actually vote for Kamala Harris, because in the last year, okay, for the last 4 years, we have all suffered the Biden-Harris debacle, the shit show of our new reality. And we have just seen a senator, again, I'm not mentioning names, do your homework. I've done a massive reposting. Look at all my reposts. You can see it in order. We have a senator who actually thinks, oh, everyone in hurricane, those who have been impacted by the hurricane are fine. Our friends, in Israel, they really need more arms, they're running out of ammunition. Our poor friends. The next scene is Bibi saying he is the most devout supporter of Israel. And my question is, how much money has he gotten from AIPAC? How much money? I think this is public information that we can access, but I think we need to start publishing the list. We already have published a list of all the AIPAC senators who are connected to AIPAC. Something that President Kennedy in the 1963 wanted to eradicate. I don't know if you guys know that. We know what happened to him and his brother. So I guess my question to you is that many of these content creators are using their platform and many of them are getting paid. Just be clear. Many of these content creators are being paid by the blue and white team. And this came out publicly. There's a young boy with curly hair who's been doing a lot of things covering all of Gaza since day one. You know who he is. He was 16 years old. Now he's 17. Curly hair, beautiful, cherubic face. And he was told he was approached with $5,000. So I know that some of these content creators are actually, so let me tell you why I'm on right now. So this content creator is convincing people that if we vote for Kamala, the war in the Middle East would end with a straight face, and then insulting people for thinking differently. So whatever you want to do to report that, because that's actually, you want to talk about disinformation? That's massive disinformation, to tell people that if they vote for Kamala, it will end the debacle in the Middle East, when she is a massive supporter of AIPAC, which means Israel. So I want you to think about this. What do we do with these content creators? What we need to do is, again, circle the wagons. And that means that if you know who I'm talking about, right? Because I'm not here to bully internet. I'm not into that at all. But I think that I'm giving you enough clues to look for who I'm talking about, and people like that, and start sending it to other people so that many people can start unfollowing these people like we started unfollowing celebrities. I think Jay-Z he went from 4.4 million followers to 900,000. We can do the same with these content creators who have no business lying. And many of them are on the payroll. Many of them are getting a lot of money. And I mean a lot of fucking money. Probably not $5,000, probably a lot more. It could be 20, could be 20,000, 30,000. If I got approached to spin my story, because I'm a spiritualist, because I actually value my soul, I would never do that. I've been approached for fuckeries before in 2017, which I'll never talk about. This is not the day. And I had to, we all need money. We all need a better life. But there's a point where you have to do what's right for humanity. So the fact that this chick, African-American chick, big eyes, I'm sure you've seen her, pulls her hair really straight back, and she's always talking like she's a robot, and has been telling people that if they vote for Kamala, the war will end. Okay? Forget Daniel Weiss showing us the map of the expansion of Israel that expands into it. And what's interesting is that a lot of these senators have gone to visit Israel. And I find it interesting that they all went and visited and saw the apartheid in their fucking face. Like, I didn't know this was happening. I knew there was issues because I was raised in France where there was a lot of the conflicts between the PLO. And in those days, I don't know if you know that, but all of the soldiers, both on Israel side and PLO side, where they started serving at the age of 16 in the 70s. And in the PLO, there were girls and boys. They were young. I mean, they were children. They were 16. And they were serving at the age of 16 to protect their borders, okay? Now, I knew that was happening, but I never knew that there was an apartheid system that who else but the South Africans would know better than anyone else except for African Americans with the Jim Crow, what that looks like. So what I find interesting is all our senators have gone to visit, all of them. And God bless Trump and Jill Stein and the people that, but they've all seen it, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that business as usual, it's kind of weird to me because here we have a chef, right? Anthony Bourdain, who went both to Israel and to Gaza and the West Bank and saw within weeks how egregiously evil it was, the system. In I think it was 2015, 2017, including Lebanon. I actually watched those shows. I remember that distinctly. I watched them. I was following him for years. So now we have leaders that have been, I don't know, influenced in such a way by the money, by the greed. They're turning their faces away from apartheid in a country. And now we are seeing the end result of us being blind to what they were doing on foreign land. And now we're kind of shocked that it's happening to our own brothers and sisters. And to be honest with you, I hate to say this, I'm not shocked, but I'm really, really pissed off. Because I would have thought that our American leaders, at least some of them, would have risen up against this bullshit. Biden was interviewed, I'm sure you've seen it, where he's being asked, what do you think about what's going on with the storm? He actually didn't even know what storm, what hurricane. And then he was asked, are you guys helping them get what they need? And he said, a narcissist in action, they have everything they need. Meanwhile, the $750 that we all knew was a fucking shit show is a shit show, and no one's getting approved. As I said, FEMA should be out there with Visa gift cards, if you know what I'm saying, with $750 already on their card, already and just handing those out to the obvious people who are out there, who are coming down from the mountains by hook or crook. Okay, so when it's almost like an old dating thing. If he wanted to, he would. If the government wanted to, they would. So the 750 was just to appease everyone because Trump went out there in Georgia and so forth to visit these people, getting hugged by these people who hadn't bathed in 6 days. And I say this for a reason, okay? And here he is, a hero to them because they feel completely betrayed and abandoned. An ex-president who everyone's so concerned he was a felon. Pretty much every senator, every banker was a criminal when they allowed the bailout in 2008 with the banking, when the whole fucking thing crashed. The people that allowed that to happen in the Senate are criminals themselves. They aided, abetted criminals, which is against the law. It's treason. So when people talk to me about, well, Trump is a felon, I don't give a shit. Robin Hood was a felon. And I'm not a supporter. Don't get me wrong. If I could get a better, if Kennedy had stayed in the race, my vote was for Kennedy, just so you're clear. That's not to denigrate if you are a Trump supporter and a Trump lover. Fine, it's fine. But I am going to denigrate you who might actually support Kamala with the 4 fucking years she had as a feminine, as a woman of color. I'm still not convinced that she's half black or half white, but I don't really, or Hindu. But that's not here or there. I don't really care. Because I'm not looking at color or gender. I'm looking at honorable, loving, generous leadership. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care what your color is at this point. Because I've seen people that were supposedly going to be brown friendly and black friendly, and they weren't friendly, okay? We saw that in the UN when the UN kept asking to vote for ceasefire, and we saw the wrong people raising their hands for a no that were supposedly supporting America on the no ceasefire. What's really a nightmare for all of us is we're watching. It's almost like being at the deathbed of someone you really love, and you really love them, and you know that all you needed was $100,000 to get the heart transplant, but you didn't have the money. And so here you are at the bedside of your beloved, passing away because the insurance wouldn't cover it, and right, and you didn't have the money to pay for that heart transplant. So now the person you love is going to pass away, not because it's their time, but because there was cruelty and gaslighting and narcissism in a system so corrupt that your person's not passing away because it is their time, because it's God's, it's time for them to meet with God or whatever, but it's because there was a lack of resources and money. John Q, Denzel Washington, watch the movie. And for me, that's how it feels like for all of us who are watching people who were alive 3 days ago that because of dehydration are no longer alive. So now they're asking for body bags. They're also, and I hope it's a rumor, are actually saying that they don't want drones, that they're not allowing drones to fly around, to document how this looks, what's going on, and maybe even find survivors trying to find their way out of those mountains. There is a woman, and I reposted this, you might want to check it out. There's a woman who has apparently trained a dog to go up in the mountains to lead these people home. So the dog has a note on its collar, is her phone number. And in the note, it says, follow this dog. Don't touch him. Don't harm him. He will bring you back to me. And just say to him, bring me back to mom. And he will carry you. So now we have a dog hero. We've had to use all kinds of weird ass shit to circumvent FEMA and circumvent. There's a guy who was on the news. Again, I've reposted a lot of the shit, but I'm going to share with you. So if you look at my repost, you can follow the plot of this nightmare. And this guy is, I think his name is Ted Kennedy. Ironic, isn't it? Ted, he might be related. I don't know. And he said that he was able to find a whole bunch of people. And then they went to a hotel and there was a guard. And they said, we're sorry, we're full. And he goes, what do you mean we're full? What do you mean you're full? And he goes, yeah, there are all the FEMA employees have taken up all the rooms in the hotel. So we're full. And he went, what? These people have been up in the mountains. They haven't showered. They need food. They need rest. They need this. He said, you know where I've been spending my days? In my fucking truck. Sleeping. I smell like hell. So what he was inferring is these FEMA employees need to get their asses out of these hotel rooms and sleep in their fucking cars. Or bunk out, or pitch tents, and let people who have suffered a week or more with the trauma, they need a good shower, they need a good hot meal, they need to sleep. So this is the level of, I'm very, very rarely a loss for words, but I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words. I can't even. I'm trying to figure it out. I didn't know we had people. Sorry for that. People who work for these agencies who actually are so disconnected that they don't know what to do. They actually don't know what to do. So, any comments or questions? Do you have any things to share? Anything at all? So, if you look at my reposts, that's going to help. You can also follow Angie Smith, Angie Smith, and check her out. She's doing constant reposting and connecting and trying to help people connect with each other so that they can help other people, so they can help bring supplies up, bring people down, and so forth. Again, if you're actually going to vote for Kamala Harris, I don't know, I don't know what to say to you. I really don't. How many of you are going to vote for Trump? How many of you are looking to vote for Jill Stein? Because to me, there's only two choices. And because we're so terrified of Kamala, many of us are going to be pushed to vote for Trump because he's got Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard on his side. So there's a lot of hope there. But how many of you are actually looking to vote for Kamala? Are any of you going to vote for Kamala? I'm just curious to see like how many people are that disconnected that they think that a vice president can now become a president suddenly out of the blue and undo all the damage that's been done in 4 years. I'm just curious to see anybody at all have an opinion on this, any voice, anybody at all. No? Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to say much more about this. Just go ahead and check out all the reposts I've done. If you could repost what I've reposted to spread the word. Now you know why TikTok is going to be banned. If Kamala Harris comes into power, I can tell you that we will no longer have a TikTok. That means if there's another fucking tragedy somewhere in this country, we will not know what the fuck's going on. We can't trust Instagram. We can't trust Facebook, as you all know. I don't know how many of you have heard that Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg came out saying that during the COVID lockdown, when the vac was being, when they were anything you posted that was counter to what was being said by the Alphabet channels, that he was bullied and I'm going to say blackmailed to pull down any information that was against the COVID lockdown and the vac. And he came out publicly saying that, which was weird to me. I didn't understand why he did it, but he did. It could be that he's sick of the bullshit too. It could be. I doubt it. But there was another reason why he did it. And I wish I knew why. But he came out saying that he had been coerced by the Biden and Harris administration not to allow our voices to be heard during while this shit was happening in Facebook and during the COVID lockdown. So that right there tells you something. So, and AIPAC is completely against TikTok. Israel is against TikTok because of what we've all discovered. We've discovered our humanity, and we've discovered the corruption of this administration. And talk about draining the swamp. I don't think it was ever really done correctly. But I think now we're going to be helping out in that endeavor. I doubt that we're going to be passive. I think we're going to be very politically astute very quickly. I think that if you believe in the ascension, if you believe in whatever the hell you believe in, then you better roll up your sleeves and I think that if you believe in the ascension, if you believe in whatever the hell you believe in, then you better roll up your sleeves and get in. I think that if you believe in the ascension, if you believe in whatever the hell you believe in, then you better roll up your sleeves and get in. I think that if you believe in the ascension, if you believe in whatever the hell you believe in, then you better roll up your sleeves and get involved in political systems right now. And there's a lot to be said. Again, any questions or comments? Any questions or comments here? Because I'd like to let me know if you have something to say before you just jump on and ask to come on, because I'll totally invite you as long as I know where you're coming from. Because if you're a Kamala supporter, I'm not here to debate you. It's not for debate. I think you have to be blindfolded not to see what these people have done to this country. The fact that FEMA doesn't have Visa credit cards, like gift cards, those gift cards that you give away to anyone, that isn't loaded with $750. The fact they don't have like 10,000 of those cards to pass out to people that would sign off for it. So it's not a duplicate. So people aren't hustling the system and getting 3 cards, 5 cards, so that it would be done correctly, right? You can sign off for it. So it's not a duplicate. So people aren't hustling the system and getting 3 cards, 5 cards, so that it would be done correctly, right? You can sign off for it. So it's not a duplicate. So people aren't hustling the system and getting 3 cards, 5 cards, so that it would be done correctly, right? You can sign off for it. So it's not a duplicate. So people aren't hustling the system and getting 3 cards, 5 cards, so that it would be done correctly, right? You can't deal with a Kamala supporter. I really don't. I can't. I'm not interested in having a debate. There's nothing to debate, in my opinion, about this. I've seen how this country has collapsed damn near on its face. We're so busy sending resources. We have taken the fucking piggy bank, broken it open, and sent every last dime to foreign countries that don't give one fuck about us. So really, and that was not going to happen under Trump's call. It wouldn't have happened under Kennedy's call, Tulsi Gabbard, and I doubt it would happen under Jill Stein's call, to be honest. But we did see Kamala. And I'm ashamed of women who actually think that it's enough to vote for a woman because she's a woman. That is sickening to me, and actually corrupted. It shows a corrupted mind, honestly. So, does anybody have any Moon? If you want to come on, just tell me. Are you for Kamala? Because if you are, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, if you want to talk and support Kamala, I'm seeing a lot of content creators supporting Kamala and saying that she's going to stop the middle. No, do you realize how funny it is for someone with a straight face insulting, viewers like you and saying that if you vote Kamala, she will stop the Middle East war? Has she ever once said that she would do that? Have you ever heard her say that? Because I know for a fact she hasn't. She's actually said, I support Israel 100%. Israel is our friend. It's our priority. Okay? That's where the money is. This is why we're in this shit show. And they're trying to pick a fight with divide and conquer, bringing people from other countries. And there is a reason why we have so many immigrants all over the world, my friends. Like, let's get educated really quick. It's called colonialism. It's also called the alphabet agencies that we have right here, okay? Right here, that went into places like Africa, doing unalivings of presidents in that part of the world that wanted to help their people were their priority. And they unalivened and kept corrupted leaders like Idi Amin, okay? Kept him alive until he passed away of a natural death, that absolute animal. But all the good presidents that were coming out were not, they were not lasting for very long. Let me just say that. So when we have these immigrants suddenly, after 40 years of the fuckery of people involving themselves because they want resources, diamonds, mines, cobalt, this, that, the list goes on, which clearly, apparently, North Carolina, the Appalachian Mountains have a massive amount of resources. Look it up. I've reposted the guy, Justin, the father dog. He came up with 4-part series on all the resources that are in the Appalachian Mountains to explain why they were doing that, and why this was done by design, and why these townships are. I don't think they're gonna come back. I really don't. Let me go ahead and see anybody else that wants to talk. You're welcome to come on my live. I don't have that much time, to be honest. I have a 6 o'clock. But what are you talking about? I'm talking about, what am I talking? I'm not going to repeat myself. You'll follow the plot as I continue. So long story short, what we need to do is stay calm. We need to go into a state of reflection of what we're going to do in the next 6 weeks, in the next 3 months, and the next 9 months. As a people, as Americans, we're going to have to start being very judicious and massively calm. I'm angry, but we have to get our nervous system in check so that we can get divine, and I mean that. Okay, if you guys are narcissistic, probably this is not your life, because so far we haven't connected with the divine, God, archangels, light beings, who are here to help us if we ask. And narcissism and cynicism and atheism isn't going to work in this situation at all. I'm just going to straight up tell you, it will not put you where you need to be at the end in 12 months from today. If this continues in the way that we are being manipulated to, like, lose our shit, we will be in a worse situation than we are right now. And that's saying a lot. It means it will ripple across the land, this kind of shit. I mentioned in one of my last live that we had a hurricane. I'm not joking. In California, Northern California, Southern California. I've lived in California. I don't live there anymore. But for 30 years, I never once saw, lots of earthquake, never saw in my entire life a hurricane barrel through for 2 days. Trees toppled, buildings smashed, cars smashed, fucking insane. So somebody told me that there is a change of weather, okay? But to be honest with you, I've been watching them cloud seeding since I was a 5-year-old kid in Switzerland. I've been watching it. So this is not new shit. So clearly they can manipulate whatever they want, anywhere they want, even though a weather of this level would be foreign to, say, Arizona or California. For example, So clearly they can manipulate anything for any reason. And so now we have to follow the money. And now we also have to unify as a people, as Americans. Irregardless of your religion, your race, you better put all that shit aside. Because if you decide that you're only going to work with a certain group of people that match all of your ideals, then the divide and conquer is going to work like a charm, like it has been working for so many decades. So now you're being asked to not perhaps like a person fully, but because your goal is the same, which is to stop this incredible attack on the American people, financially, economically, now it's about our fucking own safety. I'm not joking. It's obvious. We need to kind of kumbaya. I'm not joking. Because if we don't do this, then the 1% will win. And the 1%, the elite that you and I, the nosebleed level of power that you and I will never see, we'll never see their face. We don't know who they are, not on that level. The P. Diddy, the senators, they're all their dogs, their lap dogs. And the 1% that is controlling this, we will never, ever, ever see or know their names. Don't spew out Rockefeller and that bullshit. Those are still the underlings. There is a higher level. Okay, so we need to realize that, put that aside, turn our backs, and again, unify calmly and make peace with anyone who we did not agree with. Do you understand? That means I'm not sure if we can give sense to the Kamala Harris supporters. I don't know. I'm seeing lots of signs where I live are Kamala Harris. I think men and women that believe in this philosophy are just so, so involved in her being a woman of color that they've forgotten to think. I'm not trying to insult them. I can't understand how they can see the end results of a behavior. Let me put it this way. I'm going to give it to you this way. If a person tells you they love you and slap you around, if a person slashes your car tires, but tells you they love you, if a person steals your money to gamble it away, if a person beats up your animal or verbally abuses your child and they love you, do you still believe they love you? Or are you going to look at their actions? Does it really matter what they say, or what is the end result of their actions and their behavior? See, that's what I don't understand why these Kamala Harris supporters, don't see that. They don't see action, reaction. Action is not matching the promises. And she's promising all kinds of word salad shit. I mean, half the shit she's promising is word salad. It really is. And there's a lot of manipulation. Let me see this. Let me read your comments. I live in Utah and seeing Harris flags everywhere. So am I. And I think we've got men. I don't want to get too... Look, I'm not trying to be insulting. I believe in women's rights. I really do. But I think that there are feminists that are toxic. And I think, in fact, there are feminist men who are toxic. They're so sorry of being a masculine that they become almost... what's a polite word? Lobotomized as males. Because I think that any human being, male or female at this point, looks at Kamala's VP work, and I have to say, the math isn't mathing, I guess, is what I'm going to say. It's not, Trump supporters get a lot of hate here. Because they're looking at Trump making... believe me, I was not into him. I didn't like his comments, his locker room comments. I didn't like his weird ass shit. The fact that he was on the Epstein list. Let's just lay it out on the table. All of them were in the Epstein list. Hunter Biden has some really nefarious shit in his closet, right? That's really bizarre. It's definitely Epstein-like behavior. What else can I say? We have a man who... What I've noticed with all of our patriarchal masculines who are a certain age group, they all have root chakra issues. They all have a lot of sexual shit. Kennedy has a lot of sexual issues in his background. However, again, I'm going to repeat myself and I apologize, but for you who are new, Kennedy would be out there in his little pup tent by these factories spewing out garbage into the Hudson River, and he'd be there at 3 o'clock in the morning collecting water samples, documenting what was going on, and basically was the Aaron Brockovich of his era and stopped the shit. So we do need an environmentalist, because there are many things we should not allow. First of all, food that hurts you, bread that you can't even. In fact, the bread that we are using right here in this country is actually not bread, and the ingredients made in bread is illegal in Europe. Most of the food we have here is illegal in Europe. Now, Kennedy knows that, and we need a change. If you look, and he's made a point to it, if you look at pictures of people in the 1960s and 1970s, I think the most you would see obese was when you were 20 pounds overweight. That was considered obese. In other words, in those terms, no one was overweight or out of shape. And I remember how hard gym was when I was a kid in this country in the 70s. It was fucking hard. Okay, you had to climb up ropes. That means you had upper body strength, and if you didn't have it, you didn't pass. Things like that. Okay, now nothing, everyone gets a fucking medal. Everyone is a winner. We've actually dumbed down everything in our country to be politically correct. And there's a fine line between being socially empathetic and kind, and then going to the other side of literally catering to everyone's little moods. People lose. People will lose in games. So there's a lack of that shit, which we're seeing the results, right? And there are medications that are illegal in Europe as well. So Kennedy knows all this. So one of the reasons why I'm leaning towards Trump is because of Kennedy, to be honest, and also Tulsi Gabbard's part of the team, thank God. But when you look at how this country was under his rule, the only thing I felt he didn't do is really shut down the fist of racism. To be honest, he should have done more about that. He should have been more of a voice of reason to stop this arrogance that many people felt okay with being racist with other people. And guess what? Look at what's happening now. So now we're being asked to put all that racist shit aside and lock arms together, because this is not a thing. This government isn't attacking one race anymore or multiple races. Now they're attacking all of the Americans. It doesn't matter what color you are. Don't you see that? And it doesn't matter if you're making less than a certain amount of millions. Yeah, you're part. They see us as ants. They can step all over us. They can bulldoze our loved ones' bodies into what they did with Gaza, which was horrible. We saw them bulldozing people who had died in buildings. They just bulldoze it over, and they just, poured tar over it, and it was like it never happened. And we saw it happen. And now they're looking to do, and I don't think it's a rumor. I think it really is. I think they're going to be bulldozing, not caring, not recovering bodies for people to give last rites to their loved ones. And that kind of brutality, and then we're not seeing it on our own land by our own leaders, toxic, narcissistic leaders. So when I look at Trump and I look at some of his, let's be honest, his family is his number one concern. But I do feel as if he does care, because he did not have to go to Georgia, as I've said in my previous lives. He did not have to do any of that, but he did. And it's not because he's going to get votes from that. Realize that he's not going to get votes from that area. Not because he won't get votes. Don't get me wrong. It's because how are they going to fucking reorganize people to fucking vote? They don't even have an address anymore. Right? And many of them lost their IDs. Have you ever lost your ID and your birth certificate and everything else? Good luck in trying to get that happen. I'm not joking. The concept that many, because I'm watching lives with people talking about, I've lost my ID, I don't have my credit card, I don't have my fucking birth certificate. If you don't have those documents, you are so fucked, you have no idea. Because I had a friend who was homeless, and we helped him. And he could not get his ID, though he had expired ID. They wouldn't accept that. Even though you and I both know at DMV, don't you do a thumbprint? I know they do it in California, and I think they do it in other states, right? You do a thumbprint, right? On both thumbs, right? So, and then there's your fucking face, your picture, right? But try to get an ID with no birth certificate and nothing else. You will not have one. What does that mean? It means you can't vote. It's incredible. So that whole area has been washed away. And he still went because he knows he's not stupid. He's a strategist. He's a businessman. He's a strategist. But he did not do it for that. He did it because it was the right thing to do, because he saw, I guess he waited for maybe a few hours wondering, is Biden going to get on a helicopter? Is anyone going to go? And finally Biden, now, guess what, did get his ass over there. And what happens now? Well, all the helicopter pilots that were trying to go save people in the mountains were grounded because it's Air Force One. It's like the fuckery never ends. Never ends. So God knows how long they'll be grounded. And I remember watching Katrina, I'm watching people literally pass away from dehydration. Simply dehydration. You know? Some people can go without water for 7 days. Some people can't. And we're definitely at the 7-day mark. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the other thing is, as you well know, is that they could have done drops like they did in Gaza, where parachuting down, like Jordan, the king of Jordan, dropped some food to the people in Palestine. Why am I bringing that up? Because it's fucking intertwined. Because the same similar fuckery is happening in the response to this tragedy with our brothers and sisters in those mountains, in the Appalachian Mountains. That's why. And when a government can do this kind of fuckery to one people 7,000 miles away, you better ask yourself, wait, if they're going to do that to those people, this is called empathy, my friends, and we better start developing it as a people. It means if they can do that kind of evil to other people, and keep sending money, right? Billions and billions fucking Christ. That means that they can do it to us. And now, unfortunately, we're getting to see that in action. Unfortunately. So instead of FEMA or helicopter pilots being asked to just parachute down, okay, looking at a map and going, where was populations in this area, that area? Okay, let's go up there in force and drop water and supplies, right? Maybe even compasses, maybe even cell phones. I don't know, what an idea, cell phones, so they can actually call, because some of them, they weren't able to keep their cell phone, or maybe some of them are old timers. They didn't have a cell phone, or maybe they had the Obama phone, which is a complete piece of shit. That phone never works under good circumstances, much less when you really need it. Oh, good point. I didn't think about voting with all of this. It's voting. 92 Fast Track Act was just as bad as Rockefeller's curse on the soul of America when they monopolized oil. Let me read it correctly. Sorry. Jeremy says 92 Fast Track Act was just as bad as Rockefeller's curse on the soul of America when they monopolized oil. We sure need rebalance. We need rebalance. I agree. But the fact is that we have lost a complete region, right? Basically, that we have how many weeks till? I'm going to say 5 weeks. I'm going to say 5 weeks. We have 5 weeks before election. If any more fuckery happens anywhere in this country, you better think hard about what the hell's going on, and try to spread the word. And there are people that are so indoctrinated in the rhetoric, in the dogma. They've been raised on the Alphabet Channel, CBS, CNN, listening with complete attention to the news as if it's God's law, like if it's cemented in truth. And I really don't know what we're going to do when TikTok is gone, because they pressured Mark Zuckerberg during the COVID lockdown not to allow anything that was contrary to what the official story was about the COVID and the VAC. Then I can't imagine once this app is gone. And don't come up with this other app that many of you push, please. It's an American app, and just by looking at it, I forgot the name of it, but I forgot what it's called. I looked at it for a minute last year, and it is so it's so dogmatic. It's so brainwashed. I would never put my content there. I would never trust them with any of my content. So we need some rebellious souls, some global rebellious souls, some souls that are very esoteric, that have an understanding of how racism has really put us in this position. So now what I feel is we're being asked to do from divine source, higher sources, is to lock arms, to really try to help each other as much as we can, to create very tight communities. It's time for you guys to start. If you don't know your neighbor in your apartment building, fucking know the top floor, bottom floor, and the doors on either side of you and in front of you. Make friends. If it's not being organized, organize it yourself. Find out who your neighbors are. I have a connection with my neighbor. I only have one neighbor, so that's all I got. But at least I know his name and his wife's name. And at least if I need something, he has me, and vice versa. Right? So be very tight with your neighbors. Have these conversations. And then if you pray. If you meditate and visualize, meditate. We all need each other. I don't care who you pray to. It's the same God. Believe me, there's not my God. There's not this God, that God. It's one God, the God of a thousand names. Come on. Now let's be adults and let's just do as much as we can. Right now, in the interim, post the fuck out of this. Post it on Facebook. Post things that you're seeing. Like, I want it to be blitzed. So I've been repost on Facebook. Download some of the videos that really hit you hard. Upload it to Instagram, X, go on Twitter, and just blast it. It needs to be a complete cascading of information that blots everything out. I hate to say it like that, because we really need to actually control what people are seeing. And the best way we can see it is all arms on deck. And everything you see that you love, that it makes you cry, fucking download it, upload it to X. Just do it. Just blast. We need to waterfall this information to every person in this country that doesn't have TikTok and doesn't really know to the extent of what's going on and has no clue. It's a passing, oh yeah, they had a hurricane. Not, oh no, a whole fucking people, a whole culture, a whole, community of people. They will never, the way it looks like, many of them will be will be forced not to claim their land back. We saw that in Maui. And we need to also start demanding for these billionaires who are sitting like hoarders if you had a hoarder grandma or grandpa that had all this shit in their house, it's no different than a person who hoards billions in their bank account. It's a mental illness. I keep saying that. And we need to shame those people with billions and trillions to start fucking writing big ass fucking checks. Because it's funny. Did you know that Oprah Winfrey couldn't fucking be bothered to write a $150 million check to the Maui people, the original Hawaiians? But she sure in the hell wrote a check to Kamala. 150, my friends. And why is this important? Well, because it's a tax deduction, as you all know, because it's a contribution. So it's a win-win for her. Because for her to just take 150 million, right, and give it to and just distribute all to, just, divided by, I don't know, 100 people or 2,000 people that lost their homes. And just literally just hand them checks and make them millionaires. I have no problems with that. Make them million. Why not? Why not? That's what money's for. But she chose not to. She chose to come with her. You got to look at people and their actions as opposed to what they're saying. Money doesn't bring happiness. You remember her shows when she'd give out all her little gifts under the chair and people would just get all excited like they were fucking 5-year-olds? And she would always say, money doesn't bring happiness. Well, Oprah, right now, money would help a lot of these people. So we need to start. Elon, where's your money? Thank you for Starlink, but when are you going to write some checks? And I don't even know all the billionaires out there. Time to write some checks. Time to rebuild communities, not for Halliburton and BlackRock, for the people. For the people. And so, as you have shown to yourself how powerful you are to turn your back on celebrities, where people have unfollowed the celebrities. Like, again, I said it, Jay-Z went from 4.4 million to 900,000 people still following him. There's something wrong with them mentally, clearly, but okay, whatever. But that's a massive crush. And it's a big message to those people. But we need to go even deeper and harder. We need to push harder to those billionaires to ask them politely for the money. And I wish I could speak freely, because I know that there are people out there, brilliant, young, how do I put this without sounding, coders, who know back doors and servers and shit like that, and they can take it, just so you know. And I think you know what I'm talking about. But we would like to ask politely so that we can all be together and rebuild. This country needs a massive rebuild. There's a solar flare, X9 hitting Earth tomorrow, the 5th. Well, to be honest with you, Venus, at this point, anything is better than continuing under the ruling of these very sick, out of touch, narcissistic leaders that we have. We have a lot of very sick leaders around the planet. And but to be honest with you, I have to say that we really we are number one in having probably some of the worst leadership I've ever seen in action. The only other one that's even worse than this, the one we have right now, is Bibi. And then we have Trudeau. And there's like a triage of these animals, and I'm going to call them animals. They're fucking animals. I actually feel bad calling them animals, because animals have more heart and compassion. So I don't know what to call them. Monsters. There's a better word. So we'll see what happens. I know there's an idea that there's a telescope. I forgot the name of it. Something that is saying that there's an armada of ships coming, and they'll be here in 3 weeks, was the last message I got. And 3 weeks would be, and this was posted 5 days ago, so 3 weeks, that means we got another 2 weeks and 1 day before they arrive. And I'm not sure, are they coming here to help, or are they coming here to pick a fight? I don't know. I actually don't care at this point, because the reset we need we need a massive reset. I think it's funny, because I was watching a prepper on TikTok, and he was saying, and this is what you have to do if you want to blah 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 and survive 3 years or whatever. And in the comments, because we all run to the comments because some of you guys are so fucking brilliant, in the comments was the following note. It said, "Dear, we don't want to survive this." There were like 3,400 likes. I fucking laughed my ass off. That's how fed up people are with the bullshit. So whatever is happening, if there's a solar flare hitting the planet, if there's this or that, at this point now, it's like, this is not really, we're not thriving as a people. We're not calling ourselves slaves, but when you're working your ass off to pay for groceries, to pay for your water, your trash, your gas, your heat, your house, your dwelling, your car. Now, you do realize, right, 500 years ago, people didn't have to pay shit for shit unless you were a serf on the Lord's land, right? If you were Native American, if you were Irish up in the mountains, away from the Lords, because there were serfdoms where you had to pay for your shit. But when you were free on other parts of the world, you paid for nothing. You lived, you hunted, you harvested, you made love to your woman or your man, you had children, and you dropped your body, and that was it. You were able to do what you wanted to do, how you wanted to do it. You had communities, you played music, fire dancers, whatever, shared stories, laughed, wept, and lived. It's interesting how many of us dream of simple lives like that. We're not looking for private planes. We don't want to be a famous rock star. And we're not interested in having $100 billion. And if each of us had $100 billion, I can tell you that all of us would have rolled up our sleeves to start writing checks. I'm pretty sure. Or else you wouldn't be listening to me. We have a similar desire and similar attitudes and similar philosophies and generosities, or else you wouldn't be here at all. I know that for a fact. I may not have 800 people listening to me right now, but we don't need 800 million people to listen to this. All we need is 1 million of us to actually be one giant power that does not consent. That's it. So please, if you can, look at all the videos I've reposted. Just get your algorithm to bring up everything that's dealing with Hurricane Helene, the floods, the FEMA, the this, the that. Go ahead and save those videos, upload them to X, Instagram, Facebook. Okay. Do it for hours. If a million of us did that, it would be so flooded that every American that is ignorant of what's going on because they refuse to get TikTok because they think it's all about dances and the Chinese is going to take their information. And all of them had different reasons why they don't have TikTok. A lot of them. Okay. And because all based on fear, all of it based on fear. And so if we could do that, and it would be obvious that what was posted was from TikTok, by the way, because it will show right there, how it ends with TikTok symbol. What it'll do is wake a lot of Americans up that are still asleep. And that's what we need to do. We need to be the news anchors. We need to be the journalists. We need to be the editors. We need to be the voices at a mass scale now. And we need to do it until voting day. Okay? That's what I'm asking you to do. Okay? You have power. That's what you can do. Because all of us are feeling helpless with our hands tied going, I can't go to that part of the world because even if I went with a van full of food, they will stop and confiscate the shit. It's not a rumor. It's true. So that's what you can do. And that will make you feel more powerful, and then I want you to pray or meditate, whatever I don't care what your thing is. And don't pray begging. Okay, I will give you that advice. Pray asking for divine counsel. Pray asking for direction of what your next move is. What should you share with your family and friends? What would you share through social media? What kind of content should you create? Ask. Asking you shall receive. Okay? I have to go because I have a client I got to do in about 7 minutes. But I wanted to share that. And I hope this helps. I mean, my little videos, my little lives are just little. Okay? But I'm hoping that you can spread the word and teach the others to do the same. Just repost Facebook, X, and Instagram. Just do it. Just blast the shit. If you've got Telegram, great. If you have a group that you follow, great. Start posting there. But to be honest with you, we want all the people who are not aware of what's truly going on and they're drinking the Kool-Aid of the CBS, ABC, you know who I'm talking about, and they're drinking that Kool-Aid, right? We want them to get blasted going, holy fuck, there it is on my... It should be where they get the information, whether they're on an algorithm or not. And that's going to take strength in numbers to upload these videos on the 4 other platforms. All right? That's my message for you tonight. Sending you much love on our journey. Thank you for sharing as much as I can. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Namaste. Be well.